That's the stupidest podcast I've ever heard.
No, it's not a bird. It's zombie takeout.
Hello and welcome to Zombie Takeout, the B-Movie and Cult Movie Podcast. I said podcast again, and I'm not going to cut it this time. The B-Movie and Cult Movie Show, because we're primarily on YouTube now. Right. I'm John.
And I'm Scotto.
And joining us is writer-director Thomas Norman.
Hello, and I'm happy to be here.
You may remember Gitchy from a couple years ago. We reviewed it. It was his the killer clown feet fetish movie. All right, so without any further ado, on to some listener submitted. Before we get to this week's movie, this is a voicemail from Bodo about last week's movie, Sisters.
Hey, Bodo here. Great job on Sisters. I am so sorry. I owe you guys an apology. I thought Margot Kidder was doing a tribute to Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby in White Christmas. Sisters. Yeah, I know. It's an obscure reference from hell. If anybody gets that, bonus points to you all. Anyway, great job. Sorry I haven't been checking in as much as usual. Busy time of year. You guys are the best. Peace.
I actually had to Google that reference.
But
the song, God Save the Mister Comes Between Me and My Sister. That's from that movie. That's what he's referencing.
Yikes.
And Danny Meeks on Google Plus commented on the trailer for this week's movie, saying, "Nice, never even heard of this one."
What?
Which surprised me, because this is like a seminal B movie from the 80s.
You might as well said, "What's this Godfather you're reviewing next week?"
I mean, this is up there with like Chopper Chicks from Zombie Town and Toxie.
Well, I was thinking the other movie that's comparable to this that you always would see in the TV listings growing up or in the 90s was the Amazon Women
on the Moon, yes.
No, the Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death.
Avocado Jungle of Death, right, yes.
Like those are the two titles that always just like, wow, yeah,
primarily,
something's going on there.
Yeah, primarily probably Up All Night, which I think is where I first saw it.
Definitely. Heavily edited versions of these.
Of course.
On Up All Night.
And of course, that brings us to this week's movie, which is from 1988, Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama, probably the longest title we've had so far.
Really?
And of course, the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Morality's House. What would horror be without them?
And also brought to you by Prince Alberto. Do you have him in a can?
And brought to you by Fine China. Our glasses are for real.
All right, so funny, IMDb has it listed as some frat boys. I don't think they actually watched the movie or know what a frat boy would be.
It's a reasonable assumption because they're three guys hanging around in a bedroom together.
They are three nerds, not frat boys.
80s movie nerds.
Right. I mean, manual, thick glasses and everything, or weight problems. Either one.
Well,
these are, of course, how they would be mistaken for frat boys. I don't know. So they're just sitting around the dorm room, and one's obsessed with the TV show, but the others, the other has a plan to go watch a sorority initiation.
Yes, the 80s panty raid.
Yes, of
Another
course.
Classic.
Hashtag them too. So they sneak over to the sorority. It's a sadistic. I don't know what you would call the head sister of the sorority.
I just refer to them as the head sorority girls.
The head sorority girl is, of course, sadistic and really wants to give them a beating. And I think she even set it up pretty much.
Yeah.
She told them what window to look out of to watch through, and pretty much set the thing up for them for some reason, probably just to humiliate them further. And But of course, that window view was not good enough for them, and they decide to go inside.
And amazingly, the door wasn't locked.
Well, that is the moral of the story to this movie: is the door is never locked.
Yeah, there are no locked doors in this film.
Well, the second one makes
love
sense.
that because it was like, how the fuck are they going to get inside the mall? I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but it was like, how the fuck are they going to get inside the mall? There's no way they're going to be able to actually pick a lock with how stupid they were being.
But the head sorority girls went first, and they'll set that all up, so that makes sense. But the door to the sorority wasn't locked either.
True. So yeah, no one locked their doors back in the 80s.
Yeah, apparently.
What can you say? So they get caught, of course, and their punishment is to take the initiates to rob a bowling alley in the mall to bring a trophy back. So yeah, there's something very mythological out of this, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they catch the beauty bathing, and you know, then they're sent upon a quest, and then that all goes out the window, of course, once they actually get to the mall and they stumble into so many different things.
The object of the quest being cursed is kind of also in line with the mythological themes.
Is it though? I mean, usually it's the gods doing something, but I guess you could say that that's. That is where this takes off from the myth story, the classical myth story.
Right.
So yeah, the trophy opens up. There's an imp inside of it, and of course they're warned not to take the wishes. Although I'm not sure what would have happened if they didn't take the wishes anyway. He was just toying with them, and so then he he recruits a few demons to chase after them and torment them further. They have a fight pretty much throughout the mall, and hilarity ensues.
Now, this was shot within 12 days, all at night, because the budget was so low that they couldn't afford to rent the bowling alley out. They had to shoot when it was closed.
Of course. It makes perfect sense. I mean, and what better setting than a closed mall bowling alley?
Right. But it starts off with the classic 80s panty raid, something that was a ridiculous cliche back then, but would really not fly anymore.
Yeah, now it probably wouldn't.
I was just thinking about that because that's like, you know, the whole hook with Revenge of the Nerds, which this was leaning in towards very heavily at the beginning. And, you know, in the beginning, they introduced the nerds and the sorority girls, and I was already rooting for the monsters. Although there were a couple of references to what was going on at the sorority house as being sadomasochism.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was adorable.
Of course.
You know, it's just a little paddling, you know, which is the cliche, sorority / fraternity initiation.
That paddling went on for a while.
Yes, it did.
Making me laugh, and the sound effects was.
Yeah.
That whole thing when they're sneaking in and it's still going on, it's like, wait a minute.
Ow! Ow! Ouch! Ouch! Ow! I'm like, I love this movie.
And then, you know, they get caught. Actually, no, it was before they get caught. The girls end up in the shower after the whipped cream treatment, of course. Which
I'm not sure what the point of that was, other than to get whipped cream on them.
Exactly. That was the point of.
I have nothing to say about that.
That was the point of that scene.
No comment.
The duration of the paddling was the point of the paddling.
And then she blew the load right onto them. I get it. All right, I understand.
And then, of course, the inevitable shower scene with some incredibly hilariously unrealistic dialogue. Because they're both in the bathroom while one's showering, which for starters was very cliche. But then, you know, of course, the two weakest actors are, you know, the two who are hired because they were willing to get naked. And so that shower scene was hilarious. And I kind of feel like most of the cast, aside from those two, knew what they were in.
Yeah.
You know, they knew how bad the movie was, and so they just camped it up.
I think they all knew what was going on and what was expected of them, you know? You can't get around it with a title like this, and no.
It's right up there with Chopper Chicks and Zombie Town, which we still need to review someday.
Yeah.
Although I did notice something rather odd about the movie, and Tom, as a filmmaker, you might have some insight. Everything seemed to be shot right in the middle. My notes were covering the right fifth of the screen, and I missed nothing.
That's great.
Like, everything happened right in the center of the frame. It was weird.
So, I guess I hadn't looked up this director. Has he done much other than this?
I don't know if he's done much, but I know he, after the production ended for this, it's I don't know his name. David Dakota. He hired all of the actors and the crew to be in his next movie, Nightmare Sisters.
Huh.
So yeah, and this one was overnight, so probably not much. Surprisingly, though, almost all of the cast is still working.
It's not that surprising, really. I mean, because they knew what they were doing here, without a doubt.
The
They knew
head sorority
exactly what they're making.
The head sorority girl passed away, I think, in the mid-90s.
Really?
And the old guy, Buck Flowers, passed away in the early thousands.
And he's been in a
he's done
shit ton of things.
He was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, he was actually.
I think all of the rest of them, except maybe the two initiates, are still working, which is surprising given where they started. I mean, nothing huge, but they're steady working actors. And as I was saying earlier, I'm pretty sure the head sorority girl unlocked the bowling alley. They would not have left the bowling alley unlocked.
I actually thought that it was unlocked because Spider broke into it.
That's a good possibility too. Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that.
Because I think I have that in my notes before we even meet Spider. Incidentally, big morality tale, obviously. The guy who wishes to get laid dies. The guy who wishes for gold dies first. But the thief, who didn't make any wishes, lives.
Well, right. Well, I think that was the part of it, though. If you made a wish,
because
you were vulnerable to his magic.
Because the dark-haired guy didn't make a wish either, and he's the other one who lived.
This is where Austin Powers sent his sons to college, by the way.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just joking. I mean,
I don't get.
Well, the glasses and the mop top kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Incidentally, if the bowling had a security camera set up, why was nobody monitoring it when the sorority girls went in?
Was the janitor supposed to be monitoring it?
He was trapped in a closet,
and that's why he couldn't monitor
the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to make an R. Kelly reference in my titles, but it wasn't quite enough of a subplot. But yeah, he ended up in the closet. He may have been monitoring it and stepped out for a bit when they got in there. That's a possibility. But the whole setup is a third of the movie.
True.
I
did think it was amazing they let the fat man last as long as he did, though, because you knew the fat guy was going to die first.
Of course. The fat guy, the couple having sex, even the girl who was kind of forced into it because of the wish, she even died.
And the guy was kind of like, "Hey, can we rethink? Can we reconsider this kind of thing?"
Although he had one of the better deaths. Although they borrowed it from Tropa. Of course, it was one of the better deaths.
Yeah,
had dunked into the fryer, which was, if I recall, in Toxie.
I think you're right.
It just occurred to me that was a Toxie death, so of course it was one of the better ones.
They start with the cliche of splitting up.
Oh yeah, because you have to split the party.
But they don't split up. They literally last like 30 seconds. What? They say, "Hey, let's split up," and then they meet Spider, and they all come back together right after they split up. It was completely pointless that they. Say, "Hey, let's split up, guys. Okay, you guys go this way, and we'll go this way."
And then they don't split at all.
I'm convinced there was a joke in that was just too clever for the rest of the movie, so it kind of missed everything. But, the fact that they all got back together.
Just the fact that you would have to split up to find a trophy in a bowling alley, I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
It didn't make any sense.
And the trophy section had a big gate and a padlock and a chain, but not the mall or the bowling alley itself. Like these, $20 trophies are actually worth something.
Well, they were trying to keep people away from the imp.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Speaking of the imp, another great part of the movie, particularly because the puppet barely moved,
Right.
even though it was this big animated voice.
And who really was the voice?
I
mean, they had some fake, like, Dookie McFlyswatter or something like that as the name of the actor that did it. So no one takes credit for it, really.
Okay. Also loved the Bride of Frankenstein minion. The two, minor sorority head sorority girls, the minions of the head sorority girl,
yes,
become minions of the imp, and one is her face is just kind of messed up. The other basically turns into the Bride of Frankenstein.
The one that was all concerned about her hair.
Yeah,
I guess you could say, vanity if you want to
right.
look at your morality tale.
But she wasn't that interesting until then, because the minute she's turned into the Bride of Frankenstein, she just turns in this Jeffrey Combs style performance.
Right. She was absolutely useless as a sorority girl.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely no point to her. She just went on about her hair. It was just so two-dimensional.
Mm.
But when she became the Bride of Frankenstein, it was like, wait, what? Is it the same actress even?
And she was the best of the minions, because the girl with the
was.
messed up face was kind of boring. And when the head sorority girl became a minion, it was really just about her outfit.
Although it was funny for the demon trying to put some makeup on to cover the demonness of her face.
This will never clear up. I felt that when they got possessed, that they were trying to make one look like Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
Yes.
And the other one,
that's it. That's it.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
I couldn't place what they were trying to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she was trying to, the scene where she's trying to cover it up with makeup.
Ridiculous.
I loved when the imp suddenly turns into Basil Exposition.
Oh.
He just goes into this long monologue about his backstory with like 10 minutes left in the movie. Like, we really need this information now. And I loved how sudden the ending was, because I did not see that coming. They kind of crowbar, like, killing off the minions and trapping the imp into like the last 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, I was looking at the time on it. I'm like, there's only 9 minutes left. And they, I mean, I didn't know they were going to run credits again because the opening credits were so long. I thought
that was the 80s.
I mean, this movie is only like an hour and 15, and I feel like 20 minutes were credits. Yeah. Solid, I mean.
And yeah, I'm probably setting up for the next section of the show, but they just left the can sitting on the sidewalk at the end.
I was noticing that going, how'd that get there? How did it even get there?
Well, that's true. She trapped him inside the alley.
Yeah, it's like, did they bring it outside and leave?
I think she did. She grabbed the can before coming outside. They show her doing that.
Okay.
And then it's not till the end where they show the label on the side of the can. And the close-up is Prince Alberto.
And the can was right side up, so there was a top on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there couldn't be like a dog coming along and knocking it over and freeing the demon.
I'm sure that could still happen, though, because isn't there a sequel to this?
Well, right before we get to sequels and remakes, I love this quote from Deadly Grindhouse, which gave the movie a favorable review, but referred to watching it as the visual equivalent of eating an entire box of Blueberry cereal.
That's a good analogy.
And on to sequels. Yeah, go ahead.
I get it. I get the analogy. It works. It's like, I shouldn't be eating this junk, but it tastes good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. On to sequels and remakes. And again, the box was just sitting there. It's one of the biggest I Smell sequels I've ever seen.
Yeah, did the janitor survive?
Nope, he's dead.
Yeah, the head sorority girl killed him.
No,
they didn't actually show her killing him, I don't think.
The Bride of Frankenstein killed him.
Oh, okay.
They showed the two of them fighting, but they didn't actually show her killing him.
No, they did show him dead, because they ran into the broom closet toward the end when they were escaping. Because remember they said, we'll come back for you.
Yeah.
They came back for him and he was dead.
because the bride killed him. The bride had the knife, and then he had the axe.
Right. She knocked on the door. He thought it was them. He opens it, and she's got the knife up.
But they didn't actually show her kill him.
Well, no, they kind of pulled away when she had the knife up here.
Right. They're kind of struggling, and then they came back and assumed he was dead because they didn't actually show a body.
Well, no, they showed him sitting there, like slumped over. I mean, they didn't check his pulse or anything, but he was kind of sitting there slumped over, and I think his eyes were open.
I bet he'd still be alive.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. I know Scott doesn't want him to die.
Well, I mean, you could recast the role. General Bastard from Thanksgiving would be great. In the sequel, actually have him live. There's plenty of room for a sequel, and I think it's a seminal classic. It needs a sequel. Remakes, I don't know who could do a remake of this.
And if they do remake it, they need to add more bowling to it.
Oh yes, of course.
You can't have a title like this and only have 30 seconds of bowling in it.
No, I thought of the director. Just to have him go back to his roots, Sam Raimi.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Peter Jackson, actually.
Or Peter Jackson, yeah, another one who could do it.
Get Andy Serkis as the imp.
Oh, of course. Well, would it be a voiceover, motion capture thing, or just?
Of course, it's got to be a motion capture thing.
Or actually, Andy Serkis as an imp.
Oh yeah, that's right. He doesn't even really need the CGI, does he? Just Andy Serkis.
Right.
I believe the original title of the movie was The Imp.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it really is about him. So maybe a prequel. Show how the imp got there.
I was thinking that when they were telling the backstory about the guy who goes on the run of bowling, winning streak. Right. And I smell prequel. 1950s,
maybe a trilogy, a prequel, and then a sequel. On the brains.
On the brains.
This is a seminal classic, and one of the few movies we've reviewed that I loved in the 80s and early 90s that didn't disappoint me. I'm going for.
It's it's really fun to watch. I don't know if I'd recommend it though, but I mean it's definitely worth it. I wouldn't turn it off, so I'm going 3.
All right, Tom.
I think I'm going to go 3.5. It's one of those low budget 80s movies that represents a certain time, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's funny, it's campy, it's effective. I think I give it a 3.5, and it's also one of those films that has a role reversal because it's a heroine. There's a heroine and she's the fighter. She's protecting guys. She's strong. She's the strongest person in the film. If you notice in the beginning when they fight the demon, she overpowers both of them really quickly after one just bent a metal bar, and it's just interesting to see her like that.
Cool. I didn't think about that.
So I give it a solid 3.5.
There's a lot of weird things about this. Like they have these series of jokes that are just awful jokes that are not even really trying to tell. Like the whole bit between the janitor and Spider where they're doing the whole I can't hear you thing and he's misreading it, and none of it's funny, but it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole trapped in the closet thing. No purpose to it.
And he keeps getting shoved back in the closet.
Right.
All right, so what have we learned?
Hashtag not all imps, but I guess you could misread that as not all limps.
True. And I learned that bowling alleys have big lanes.
Got big lanes? Got big lanes?
Tom?
What have you learned, Thomas?
I learned that, after rewatching it, because that whole heroin thing, I didn't pick it up when I was that young and watched it. I was too busy looking at the breasts. But now this time, I learned that Linnea, she actually had this heroin role, and anyone who's a fan of her probably should check this film out because she, you don't see her like this much.
True. She's usually running away and screaming.
Or turning into a demon.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama. Glad I don't have to say that again. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Do you have anything you'd like to plug? Anywhere people can find you online?
Well, I have that one short, Old Miss Jenkins. You're already liked our page. That's going to come up. That's coming up soon. So I'm not going to put a solid plug on that, but I'll keep you posted on that.
All right. Yeah, and I'll put a link in the description to the Facebook page.
Yeah, sure. That's great.
All right. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, when we'll be reviewing Lord Love a Duck. Always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
There you are.